The Naval Order of the United States was established in 1890 as a hereditary organization in the United States for members of the American Sea Services. Its primary mission is to encourage research and writing on naval and maritime subjects, preserve documents, portraits, and other records of prominent figures, deeds and memories of American naval and maritime history. The Naval Order of the United States traces its origin to the initiative of Charles Calhoun Philbrook, Charles Frederick Bacon Philbrook, and Franklin Center Frisbee, who met in Boston, Massachusetts, on 4 July 1890 to take the first step toward establishing an organization that was originally named the Naval Commandery of the United States of America. Its purpose was to commemorate the seagoing services of their ancestors' naval service. The original eligibility for membership was based upon service in any of the wars or in any battle in which the United States Navy or Marine Corps has participated, or who served as above in connection with the revenue or privateer services. 4 months later, on the 115th anniversary of the U.S. Marine Corps, the 13th of November 1890, the organization was established on a permanent basis and branches were established in several states. 3 years later, on the 19th of July 1893, the Naval Commandery began discussions with a smaller organization that had similar aims, the Naval Legion of the United States. The result of these talks resulted in the formal merger of the two organizations as the Naval Order of the United States. The formal meeting of the new and expanded organization took place on the 15th of August 1893 at Faneuil Hall, Boston, where the Naval Order adopted its constitution that created local commanderies in the various states, with members becoming companions of the Naval Order. Membership criteria: regular members, any United States citizen who has served or is serving as an officer or enlisted member of the United States Navy, U.S. Marine Corps, the U.S. Coast Guard, and any other federal military maritime service of the United States or its allies, and the descendants over 18 years of age, who are U.S. citizens, associate members, spouses of present and deceased regular members, and those other than United States citizens, who have served or are serving honorably as commissioned officers in an allied seagoing service. Also, the Naval Order may confer either associate or honorary membership upon individuals who are not otherwise eligible for regular or associate membership, if they have distinguished themselves in the interest of naval service. National awards by the Order. The Order presents a number of annual awards as part of its furtherance of its mission, including 3 awards to the U.S. Naval Academy midshipmen who score the highest in competitive examinations on national and international political science issues, an award to the outstanding graduate of the Chief of Naval Air Training Command Flight Officer Program, awards to the outstanding midshipmen and cadets at the U.S. Merchant Marine Academy, at the State University of New York Maritime College, the California Maritime Academy, and at Naval Reserve Officer Training Corps programs at various universities, as well as an award to the outstanding junior officer instructor at the U.S. Coast Guard Academy. The Naval Order's most prestigious awards are: Admiral of the Navy George Dewey Award, Distinguished Sea Service Award, awards by local commanderies: Samuel Eliot Morrison Award for Naval Literature, awarded by the New York Commandery, Admiral Nimitz Leadership Award, awarded by the Texas Commandery. Commanders General of the Naval Order of the United States. The Commanders General of the Naval Order of the United States have been Charles Calhoun Philbrook (1890–1893), Lieutenant Commander John Codman Soley (1893–1895), Rear Admiral John Grimes Walker (1895–1907), Admiral of the Navy George Dewey (1907–1917), Rear Admiral Francis J. Higginson (1917–1925), Captain Herbert Livingston Satterley (1925–1928), Rear Admiral Albert Gleaves (1928–1931), Rear Admiral Reginald R. Belknap (1931–1937), Commander Frederick Bernard Craven (1937–1943), Captain James Harvey Tomb (1943–1946), Vice Admiral William Augustus Reed (1946–1949), Commander Charles Hange, Jr. (1949–1958), Rear Admiral Thurston H. James (1958–1961), Captain Dudley Wilson Dodge (1962–1964), Captain Jeremiah Francis O'Shea (1964–1966), Admiral Joseph James Clark (1966–1969), Captain Robert Granville Burke (1969–1971), Captain Malcolm Townsend Munger (1971–1973), Rear Admiral Alban Weber, Captain Robert Bashford Bowl, Captain Edward Sidney Anderson, Captain Albert Frederick Kemp, Lieutenant Commander Raymond Edward Cross, Rear Admiral Winston Holbrook Weiss, Commander Stanley John Majka, Captain Frederick Daniel Carl, Captain John Charles Rice, Jr., Commodore, Captain Wallace Howard Lloyd, Jr., Commodore, Captain William Richard Bremer, Rear Admiral William Furman Merlin, Captain James Franklin Brooke III, Rear Admiral Lester Robert Smith, Rear Admiral Thomas Francis Brown III, Captain Fred Case Hawkins, Jr., Captain Carter Barry Conlin, Captain Kenneth Alban Johnson, Captain Gregory F. Streeter 2009–2011, Rear Admiral Douglas M. Moore, Jr. 2011–2013, Captain Vance H. Morrison 2013–2015. Notable companions of the Naval Order of the United States. Members of the Naval Order have included presidents, members of the cabinet and high-ranking naval and marine officers. Some of the most notable have included Presidents of the United States Richard M. Nixon, George H. W. Bush, Ronald W. Reagan, Presidents John F. Kennedy, Lyndon Johnson, Gerald Ford and Jimmy Carter were all eligible for companionship in the order but did not join. Former President George W. Bush is eligible to join the order as a hereditary member. Secretary of State George P. Shultz, Secretary of the Treasury and Secretary of Labor. Secretaries of the Navy Charles F. Adams III, Charles Edison, Governor of New Jersey and son of Thomas Edison. Paul B. Fay, James V. Forrestal, First Secretary of Defense. Gordon R. England, Fred Korth, John F. Lehman, J. William Middendorf II, Ambassador to the Netherlands. Truman H. Newberry, United States Senator. John L. Sullivan, Curtis D. Wilbur. Other government officials: David I. Walsh, United States Senator and Governor of Massachusetts. United States Navy, Admiral of the Navy George Dewey, insignia number 207, Hero of the Battle of Manila Bay. Fleet Admiral William D. Leahy, No. 2508, Presidential Chief of Staff. Fleet Admiral Ernest J. King, No. 2424, Chief of Naval Operations. Fleet Admiral Chester W. Nimitz, No. 2427, Chief of Naval Operations. Fleet Admiral William F. Halsey, No. 2419, Commander of 3rd Fleet during World War II. Admiral Jeremy M. Borda, Chief of Naval Operations. Admiral Ali A. Burke, Chief of Naval Operations. Admiral Richard L. Connolly, No. 2441 President of the United States Naval War College. Admiral William J. Crowe, Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. Admiral Albert Leaves, No. 756. Admiral Thomas C. Hart, No. 2420 Commander of the United States Asiatic Fleet. Admiral Thomas B. Hayward, No. 5670 Chief of Naval Operations. Admiral H. Kent Hewitt, No. 2421 Commander of Amphibious Forces in the Mediterranean during World War II. Admiral James L. Holloway, Jr. Superintendent of the United States Naval Academy. Admiral James L. Holloway III, Chief of Naval Operations. Admiral Roy Lee Ingersoll, No. 2498 Atlantic Fleet Commander in World War II. Admiral Frank Kelso, Chief of Naval Operations. Admiral Isaac C. Kidd, Jr. No. 5445 Commander-in-Chief of Atlantic Fleet. Admiral Husband E. Kimmel, No. 2578 Pacific Fleet Commander at Pearl Harbor. Admiral Thomas C. Kincaid, No. 2482 Commander of 7th Fleet during World War II. Admiral John S. McCain, Jr. Senior Naval Officer in Vietnam. Admiral Luke McNamee, President of the United States Naval War College. Admiral Thomas H. Maurer, Chief of Naval Operations and Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. Admiral Jesse B. Oldendorf, Commander at the Battle of Surigao Strait. Admiral Arthur W. Radford, No. 2430 Vice Chief of Naval Operations and Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. Admiral Forrest P. Sherman, No. 2447 Chief of Naval Operations. Admiral William S. Sims, No. 923 Commander of Naval Forces in Europe during the First World War. Admiral Raymond A. Spruance, No. 2544 President of the Naval War College. Admiral Carlisle A. H. Trost, Chief of Naval Operations. Admiral Richmond K. Turner, Commander of Amphibious Force, South Pacific. Admiral James D. Watkins, Chief of Naval Operations. Admiral Cameron McCrae Winslow, No. 324. Admiral Harry E. Yarnell, Commander, Asiatic Fleet. Admiral Paul A. Yost, Jr. Chief of Naval Operations. Admiral Elmo Zumwalt, Chief of Naval Operations. Vice Admiral Wilder D. Baker, No. 3022 Commander, 11th Naval District. Vice Admiral Robert P. Coogan, Commander, 3rd Fleet. Vice Admiral Damon W. Cooper, No. 5123 First Chief of Naval Reserve. Vice Admiral Richard H. Curzon, Commanding Officer of Operation High Jump. Vice Admiral Samuel L. Gravely, Jr. No. 6278 First African American Admiral. Vice Admiral Diego E. Hernandez, Vice Commander of NORAD. Vice Admiral C. Turner Joy, Superintendent of the United States Naval Academy. Vice Admiral Fitzhugh Lee. Vice Admiral Charles A. Lockwood, No. 2434 Commander of Submarine Force Pacific Fleet during World War II. Vice Admiral Joseph Metcalf III. Vice Admiral Charles B. Momsen, inventor of the Momsen lung. Vice Admiral James B. Stockdale, Medal of Honor recipient and President of the Naval War College. Vice Admiral Joseph Taussig, No. 1089 Commander of 1st Division of U.S. Navy destroyers to be deployed to Europe during the First World War. Vice Admiral Frederick M. Trapnell, No. 1428A, Vice Admiral Arthur L. Willard, No. 876, Rear Admiral John R. Bartlett, Rear Admiral George E. Belknap, No. 159, Rear Admiral Reginald R. Belknap, Rear Admiral Richard E. Byrd, Antarctic Explorer and Medal of Honor recipient. Rear Admiral French Ensign Chadwick, No. 400, Rear Admiral Norman van Heldrijk Farquhar, Rear Admiral Bradley A. Fisk, No. 866, Rear Admiral Caspar F. Goodrich, President of the Naval War College. Rear Admiral Isaac C. Kidd, Medal of Honor recipient. Rear Admiral Stephen B. Luce, founder of the Naval War College. Rear Admiral Barbara E. McGann, Commander, U.S. Navy Recruiting Command. Rear Admiral Alfred Thiamoon, No. 339, influential naval theorist. Rear Admiral George W. Melville, No. 116, Arctic explorer and naval engineer. Rear Admiral Samuel Eliot Morrison, No. 2276, Harvard professor and renowned naval historian. Rear Admiral William T. Sampson, No. 359, commander at the Battle of Santiago de Cuba. Rear Admiral Winfield S. Schley, No. 228, hero of the Battle of Santiago de Cuba. Rear Admiral Thomas O. Selfridge, No. 352. Rear Admiral Charles Stockton, No. 345. Rear Admiral John Grimes Walker, Chief of Bureau of Navigation and 3rd Commander General of the NAUS. Rear Admiral John L. Warden, No. 24, Commander of US monitored during her battle with CSS Virginia. Captain Vincent Astor, heir to John Jacob Astor IV. Captain Edward L. Beach, Jr., No. 7154, commanding officer of US Triton on first submerged voyage around the world. Captain William McCarty Little, No. 142, developer of naval wargaming. Commander Thomas B. Buell, No. 5684. Commander Richard M. Nixon, No. 2514, President of the United States. Commander Marsden J. Perry, No. 1335. Lieutenant Commander William Vincent Astor, No. 624, son of John Jacob Astor IV. Lieutenant Commander John McCloy, No. 635, two-time recipient of the Medal of Honor. Lieutenant Tom Wilson, Jr., No. 1334. Surgeon Gardner W. Allen, No. 360. Lieutenant George H. W. Bush, President of the United States. Lieutenant Robert Gesture Gollert, No. 1726, son of real estate heir Robert Walton Gollert. Lieutenant John B. Hattendorf, Naval War College Professor of Naval History and Strategy. Lieutenant Stephen B. Luce, Jr., No. 565. Lieutenant J. William Middendorf, No. 2031, Secretary of the Navy. Lieutenant Junius Spencer Morgan III, No. 585, grandson of financier J. P. Morgan. Master Robert Means Thompson, Commander-in-Chief of MOLLUS. Ensign Wantrip, No. 831, founder of Pan American Airways. Gunner Cornelius Cronin, Medal of Honor recipient. Master's Mate John F. Bickford, Medal of Honor recipient. Master's Mate William D. Newland, No. 178, Medal of Honor recipient. Chief Quartermaster Daniel D. Stevens, No. 58, Medal of Honor recipient. Storekeeper 3rd Class Isidore Solis Cohen, Jr., No. 558. United States Marine Corps General Alfred M. Gray, Jr., Commandant of the Marine Corps. General Thomas Holcomb, Commandant of the Marine Corps. General Paul X. Kelly, Commandant of the Marine Corps. General Walter Boomer, No. 7433, Assistant Commandant of the Marine Corps. General Randolph Patay. General Christian F. Schild, Medal of Honor recipient and Director of Marine Corps Aviation. General Holland Smith, Commandant of the Marine Corps. General Oliver P. Smith. General Alexander Vandergrift, No. 2527, Medal of Honor recipient and Commandant of the Marine Corps. General Anthony C. Zinni, Commander of United States Central Command. Lieutenant General Victor H. Krulik, Commander of Marine Corps units in Vietnam. Lieutenant General Alan Shapley, No. 2082, Commander of 3rd Marine Division. Brigadier General Charles L. Macaulay, No. 334, recipient of the Marine Corps Brevet Medal. Captain Tyrone Power, No. 2310, actor and transport pilot during battles of Iwo Jima and Okinawa. Corporal Herman Wilhelm Kuchmeister, No. 491, Medal of Honor recipient. United States Coast Guard Admiral Russell R. Archer, USCG, No. 989, Commandant of the United States Coast Guard during World War II. Master Chief Petty Officer of the Coast Guard Vincent W. Patton III, Master Chief Petty Officer of the Coast Guard. Civilian Companions Bishop William Stevens Perry, No. 50, Episcopal Bishop of Iowa. Professor Robert G. Albion, No. 3322. Professor E. B. Potter, No. 5793. Dr. William S. Dudley, No. 7336. Mr. Howland H. Pell, Jr., No.